traditional ways of leading organizations forward do no longer satisfy the need of success or efficiency. It seems it's insufficient. And partnering with people who really are committed to feel called to contribute to the change that is needed. That is what we do, because we come from another angle and bringing perspectives that cannot be generated from within the same structure as the one that is insufficient.
I think change is in the air, and people realize that the old habits, the old ways of thinking had their day, and now something new and innovative is required. So I think in our Partners in Transformation, what we try to do is open people's minds to what for them at least are new ways of thinking. We introduce, for instance, the creative capacities of the unconscious. We all know that the mind is much larger than our conscious mind. Everybody knows that today. That was a great discovery 100 years ago, but today everybody knows that. But how to tap into it and its resources. Neuroscientists have shown clearly that the unconscious mind is ahead of the conscious mind. It thinks faster, it has better reactions, makes better decisions, often than our plodding, rational mind that is good for checking things, but it isn't good for striking out in new directions. And so to get ahead of the game, or to be innovative, one has to find a way to tap into that, or to let that speak. What we want to do is let the unconscious speak to our situation. How can we hear that voice? How can we open up to it? And that's what we try to do by partnering. We want to partner people into a way of being and thinking, and opening their minds to their own creative capacities. And so we come from psychology and religious studies where this has been explored and done in other settings, and it can be done in
a style that takes into consideration deep listening into the unconscious. It's a technique, you can learn it, and I think there is some urgency. I sense urgency among my clients to get ahead and really learn it now. And so to create inspiration among the people they work with and depend upon for creating shared leadership in the true sense that it is a shared or partnered experience as such.
I think we try to bring about this feeling of trust in oneself.
Yes. And in each other, because that is what close attunement does. It attunes a group of colleagues into a shared feeling of, or shared knowing, I'd say, experience, because experience is knowing, of an understanding of what's needed in a particular situation. It's amazing to see how very complex dilemmas have simple and real solutions, and how quickly you can unearth such an understanding, and everyone suddenly knows what to do.
I think in the retreats that we lead, there is the experience of opening up to the unconscious mind, to the intuition, and in the group there a level of trust develops. So it is a partnership among all of us.
Yes.
In these retreat groups,
Yes. And we have experienced two moments of transformation, really transformational moments that have an impact in that sense that you cannot undo. You have already crossed over into something that you cannot retreat from. You have taken that step into a new way of working together that cannot easily be forgotten.
I think our experience has been that our best new directions have come from something beyond our conscious intentionality, something way different and unplanned and unforeseen. But we have to seize the moment. We have to take the opportunity. So when it arrives, you need to be able to trust it. You need to be able to take the next step. And I think we've had that experience, haven't we?
Sure, many times.
Yeah.
The training that you need to have to train your mind and heart to follow that inner guidance with confidence when there is nothing else to rely on, to know that that works. It carries, it's an engine behind partners in transformation, I believe.
Well, I come from, of course, Jungian psychology, and I think Jung's theory, as he wrote about it, and many other people have by now added and contributed to it, is a nearly perfect theoretical structure for doing what we're talking about.
Yes.
It gives you the conceptual framework, and I think if you have that, it helps too to trust, to know that these paths have been walked before, other people have done this and gone this way.
Yes.
They've thought about it, they've written about it, they've theorized about it, and we can share that with our partners.
Yes.
And transformation also.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And in itself, it sort of undoes this artificial divide between a material world and a spiritual world. I mean, there is only one world.
So important. Yeah.
It's very important.
Yeah. I think, in the modern world, there has been this division between your religious practices, if you have any, on one part of your life, it's segmented, and then your business and your family life and everything else somewhere else. And what we're trying to do is integrate them and draw on the resources that are common to all these worlds and are important. If you want to have a creative spiritual life, you have to do the same thing as to being creative in the business world or in the scholarly world.
Yes. We don't live in slices of reality.
Our partners in transformation do is learning from these retreats, carrying that into their other contexts. So what you learn here, you can take out and do in your other worlds, whatever they happen to be.
Yeah, that's what I consider to be the greatest privilege, that to be allowed into the living reality of people, the work they do and the organizations around that, and to spend some time to jointly reach a higher, more complex, more relevant and more relationally rewarding situation for the good of that company.
We will get signals via dreams, for instance. Jungians work a lot with dreams and getting new ideas, new insights from their own dreams, and also using our imagination, letting go of the left brain for a bit.
It's a technique,
putting
it's
it
a practice.
It's a practice.
You can learn that.
You have to be very tuned in to the wisdom of the self, as we talk about it, to know or to have a sense, a feeling for when is the right timing. And I think that takes more than one retreat. That takes really working with oneself over a period of time. And
you can have a practice for yourself, and that you and that your company and your near friends and colleagues will benefit indirectly from your development.
Right. So there's this personal development aspect
as well,
as well as
the share
using yourself in a better way in your context. Today's environment, business environment, it isn't enough for a few people in an organization to be creative and innovative. I think everybody has to be in their own niche, in their own way, And to encourage that kind of, and build that kind of an atmosphere, I think is a very special task of leadership, to encourage all people working in an organization to contribute their best creativity, whether they're the janitor or they're COO or whatever they are.
You can't afford to compartmentalize things like that.
Yeah.
You have to let go and allow for it all to work together.
And emerge, new ways
Yes.
to emerge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now that's new governance, governing large groups of people's creativity, intelligence, and felt intent.
Yeah.
That's important. You
That's
need to
what
know what's intuition and what's just sort of
Yeah.
random ideas.
I read an interview with this new Norwegian chess champion last week. There in the Financial Times, there was an interview with him. He's 17 years old, and he's he's supposed to be number one in the world, and he only started playing when he was 8 or 9, and he taught himself at first, and then he had some teachers later. Gary Kasparov was one of his teachers later. He's a genius, but they asked him, how does he play his game? How does he think so far ahead? How does he strategize? He says he doesn't. He says, I do it all by intuition. And with intuition, they never can guess what I'm going to do next. The opponent's always caught by surprise. Because they all have these strategies that they've learned. And, this one plays this, and that one plays that, and their defenses and offenses. He said, I follow my intuition, and I use my thinking to check it later.
All right.
He wins almost every game.
Well, that sounds familiar.
So I think that's intuition is where it's at, and I think
the soul qualities that can have that channel of expressing itself.
yes.